Good to see y'all. My name's Tanner. If you're new here, hey, what's up, Gavin? Uh, yeah, a few weeks ago, if you were here, we were kind of in a mini series on the life story of Jacob. Hey, what's up, man? um, and today we're going to pick that back up. We're going to look at the big, epic climax of Jacob's life this morning. It's a very weird story, but I think there's something there for us today. But if you weren't here or you don't remember who Jacob is, I'll give you a brief recap here. Jacob's name, his very name, means deceiver or trickster. His name means heel grabber, somebody who trips somebody up. Like I think in middle school when the boys would like kick your heels while you're walking down the street, and you trip up. That's Jacob. That's his whole personality. And even before he was born, God chose him as the one to carry forward the Abrahamic blessing. He picks Jacob before he's even born. He says Jacob is going to be elevated above his older brother Esau. The problem is Jacob lives his entire life like the serpent in the garden. Jacob is constantly deceiving, constantly manipulating, constantly striving, seizing, trying to take the blessing for himself, trying to earn it. He deceives his brother Esau. He ends up stealing his birthright, like all of the inheritance Esau is going to get. He steals the blessing from Esau by deceiving his father Isaac. He ends up having to flee into exile because Esau wants to murder him. He's so mad. Then he flees into exile, encounters a relative named Laban, and they get into a deception off, seeing who can take advantage of the other person the hardest. And this goes on for 20 years. Jacob lives in exile as a slave to Laban before eventually Jacob gets the upper hand on Laban. But even then, he has to flee from Laban. And he flees and he thinks, okay, I'm going to go back to my home country. It's time to go back to my home country. Only one problem. He's got to deal with Esau. Esau's out there. Esau wants to murder him. He knows that's waiting for him when he gets there. So we're going to pick up the chapter in Genesis chapter 32, if I didn't put it big enough on the screen there. We're going to watch as story after story, Jacob has schemed, he's lied, he's deceived. The man who is supposed to carry forward the blessing of God to the nation is just a little chaos monster. And now he's got to deal with Esau. And the big plot conflict is, what is God to do with a person who is like this? What is God going to do with a people that is like this? People that will not receive God's blessing, people who insist on doing what's right in their own eyes, people who insist on trying to make the blessing happen on their own terms, on their own might, all of those things. And so we're going to pick up Genesis chapter 32, and it starts weird. Jacob also went on his way, and the angels of God met him. When Jacob saw them, he said, "This is the camp of God." So he named that place, some Hebrew word, two camps, Mahanaim. Jacob sent messengers ahead of him to his brother Esau in the land of Seir, the country of Edom. And he instructed them, "This is what you are to say to my lord Esau. Your servant Jacob says, I've been staying with Laban and have remained there until now. I have cattle and donkeys, sheep and goats, male and female servants. Now I'm sending this message to my lord that I may find favor in your eyes." When the messengers returned to Jacob, they said, "We went to your brother Esau, and now he is coming to meet you. Oh, and he has 400 men with him." In great fear and distress, Jacob divided the people who were with him into two camps, and the flocks and the herds and the camels as well. He thought, dear reader, he tells you what he thinks, if Esau comes and attacks one camp, the camp that is left may escape. Then Jacob prayed, "O God, my father Abraham, God of my father Isaac, Lord, you who said to me, go back to your country and your relatives, and I will make you prosper. I am unworthy of all the kindness and faithfulness you have shown your servant. I had only my staff when I crossed this Jordan, but now I have become two camps. Save me, I pray, from the hand of my brother Esau, for I am afraid he will come and attack me, and also the mothers with their children. But you have said, I will surely make you prosper and make your descendants like the sand of the sea, which cannot be counted. He spent the night there, and from what he had with him, he selected a gift for his brother Esau, 200 female goats and 20 male goats, 200 ewes, 20 rams, 30 female camels with their young, 40 cows and 10 bulls, 20 female donkeys and 10 male donkeys. He put them in the care of his servants, each herd by itself, and he said to his servants, go ahead of me and keep some space between the herds. He instructed the one in the lead, when my brother Esau meets you and asks, who do you belong to? Where are you going? Who owns all these animals in front of you? Then you're to say, they belong to your servant, Jacob. They are a gift sent to my lord, Esau, and he's coming behind us. He also instructed the second and the third and all the others who followed the herds. You are to say the same thing to Esau when you meet him. And be sure to say, your servant Jacob is coming behind us. For he thought, dear reader, I will pacify him with these gifts I'm sending on ahead. Later, when I see him, perhaps he will receive me. So Jacob's gifts went on ahead of him, but he himself spent the night in the camp. That's the long part of the chapter. There's a little bit more. We'll get to it in a minute. But there's a lot going on here. And we're going to dive in it, take it line by line. But right off the bat, you get this weird story of Jacob encountering the angels of the Lord. It's like they just throw that out there. Like, oh, and angels encountered Jacob. And he's like, angels. That's crazy. God has a camp here, and I have a camp here. There's two camps. God's camp is my camp. Like, we're in the same place. And it's like he realizes, okay, there's a supernatural camp, and then there's his personal camp. And the crazy thing is here, there's some Bible nerd stuff going on here that we don't have time to get into. But the last time and only time Jacob has encountered angels or God was when he was fleeing into exile. Right when he's running from Esau and he crosses over into exile, he encounters angels, he encounters the Lord. He has the Jacob stairway experience where God gives him the Abrahamic blessing. And Jacob bargains with God, hey, if you really do all that stuff, if you really bless me, then maybe you'll be my God. And he never commits to God. But here, when he comes back, he encounters angels again. It's like the biblical author wants you to bookend this, like everything that happened before, and then now this. Like this moment is happening right here. And so he looks, and he says, God has messengers. God's camp is here. My camp is here. I have messengers. I have an idea. I'm going to send some messengers to my brother Esau. And here's what I'm going to have them say. Your servant Jacob says, I've been staying with Laban, and I've remained there until now. I have cattle and donkeys and sheep, goats, male and female servants. Now I'm sending this message to my Lord that I may find favor in your eyes. Like he's getting real formal here, right? Does he believe this? No. What's he trying to do? Manipulate Esau. He's trying to manipulate the situation. Man, Esau's out there. I'm going to get ahead of this. I'm going to get in front of this situation that I created on my own with my deception, and I'm going to try to control this situation. In the story, he's calling himself Esau his Lord. He's calling himself the servant of Esau. What was like the whole thing that he stole from Esau? The birthright and the blessing. God has already promised him. He's going to be exalted over Esau. So that's the irony in this situation. Like, he's like going back on all of that and be like, hey, just play cool. I'm still your servant. Don't worry about it. And he says, man, I've been staying with Laban. I've remained there until now. Like, I haven't been hiding from you. I've just been with a relative. I'm not trying to avoid you, Esau. Like, I've just been out there with that. And, oh, by the way, I have cattle and donkeys. I'm super rich now. I totally don't want any of your stuff. I'm not coming to deceive you and take your things. Look at all this stuff I have. Man, I got all this stuff. I don't need anything. I'm sending this message to my Lord that I'll find favor in your eyes. Kind of like, hey, man, it's been a long time. Let's put the past in the past. You don't have to kill me. Like, let's move on. Let's move on from this whole situation. And how does Esau respond? He doesn't. He doesn't say anything to Jacob's messengers. Like, oh, he's coming to meet you, and he has 400 dudes with him. Like, how's that going to go for Jacob? If you're Jacob, what do you think is about to happen in this situation? Clearly, he thinks Esau is going to murder him because he's in great fear and distress. And, this chapter started with two camps, Angel's camp, Jacob's camp. Hey, two camps. And Jacob goes, I have an idea. I'm going to split my camps into two. That way, when Esau comes, maybe one of them can get away. Maybe I'll have a remnant. Maybe I can save some of my wealth when he comes. I'm going to split my camps up. And the moment there is danger, that's what's so funny. The moment it's like, there's two camps. God's with me. God's camp is my camp. The moment there's danger, he's like, forget about all that. I've got to save my stuff. I've got to figure out a way to start saving. He immediately starts taking matters into his own hands. He forgets all that God's there completely. But to his credit, this is the first and only time in the story where Jacob prays. Like I said, the first time he encounters God, he bargains with God, non-committal, sure. If you give me all this stuff, if you make me a mighty nation, maybe then I'll be your God. But the moment there's danger, he turns to God and he's like, Lord, I'm going to pray. And if you can call it that, like he said, oh, God of my father Abraham, God of my father Isaac. Whose God? Is it his God? Not apparently, so far. He doesn't say my God, my Lord. He says, hey, you said, go back to your country and your relatives, and I'll make you prosper. It's like, man, you said, God. It's like he's calling in a debt on God in this moment. And this is the only part where you think, okay, I can get behind this. He says, I am unworthy of all the kindness and faithfulness you have shown your servant. I had only my staff when I crossed this Jordan, but now, man, I'm two camps. It sounds humble until you read the whole story and you're like, how did he accumulate all this wealth? Through deception. Through all of these plots with Laban and with Esau and with his wives and all of this stuff. And you're like, does he really believe at this point that God has provided this for him? Or does he think he's earned all this on his own and in a moment of desperation turns to God and he's like, oh, I'm your humble servant. Like, I don't know. I read it kind of that way. Because the only other time he mentions God in this story is when he's attaching God's name to one of his deceptions to try to manipulate his wives into fleeing Laban. And so you're like, man, what's Jacob really at here? It's kind of tough to take him at his word, especially since the next verse, he says what he really wants. Man, save me. Save me, I pray, from the hand of my brother Esau, for I'm afraid he's going to come and attack me. Oh, and also the mothers with their children, God. Like, if that helps you save me, then do it. Because you said, I will surely make you prosper. It will make your descendants like the sands of the sea, which cannot be counted. Again, it's almost like he's throwing God's promise back at him a little bit. Like as if it's not his own actions that are bringing Esau down upon him. You know what I'm saying? Like, God, I thought you would take care of this for me. Like, here it is. But the thing is, as whiny as this prayer can seem, at least for one moment, Jacob seems to realize I can't save myself. For just one brief moment, Jacob's like, I need help. Esau's going to kill me. And he turns to God and he prays, save me, help me, help me. First time he's prayed and asked God for anything, it's desperation. You look at it and you're like, well, do you believe him? Does he believe that God can save him? Does he believe that God can move? And as critical as I've been with this prayer, we do this all the time. Right? Jacob has lived his whole life trying to build his own kingdom, trying to scrap and claw and make his name great, get wealth, get riches, deceiving, hurting everyone around him. And then the moment that the consequences are upon him, God, save me. God, you said you're good. Save me. You have grace, mercy. God, don't let her be pregnant. Like, we do this all the time. Some sort of like, oh, my consequences of my actions have come upon me. Now, God, you said you're good. This is just a very honest portrayal of what it means to be human. Like, it's not shying away from this at all. It's just like he turns, and you know this because the very next thing he does after he prays, he turns to God for one moment and he prays, God, save me, save me, save me. And then the very next thing, he takes matters into his own hands. He comes up with a scheme. comes up with a deception to try to work on Esau. I'm going to bribe Esau. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to break up all my stuff into these little camps, and I'm going to send them before with this message. These are bribes. These are gifts to you, Esau. These are gifts to you. I'm going to manipulate Esau, and I can save myself out of this. And what's crazy here, we don't have time to go fully into this because it would be just an enormously long sermon. This is a flood narrative, like Noah's flood. The language all throughout this in the Hebrew is words lifted directly from Noah's flood story. And the author wants you to hold that story up in your head and hold this story of Jacob and Esau and compare and contrast them. Even the last time we saw Esau, it used the same words to describe Esau, which is very weird, as it used to describe God comforting himself over sending the flood. God is grieved, and it says God comforts himself. And when Jacob steals everything from Esau, it says Esau has to grieve and has to comfort himself for the wrath he wants to bring onto Jacob. And then you have all of this flood language here. And if you hold those two stories up in your head, what is Jacob doing here? He's building his own ark. He's trying to save himself on his own terms, by his own means, with his own ingenuity, to save himself. And he's like an anti-Noah. Whereas God was like telling Noah what to do, and he's listening to the Lord, and he's doing this stuff. Jacob's like, I can do it on my own. I can save. I know I said that prayer a second ago, but now I got this scheme. And man, I think this scheme's going to work. Like, there's this flood of Esau's wrath coming. And he's like, man, I can get out of this. I'm going to bribe him. And he puts him in care of his servant. He says, hey, go ahead of me. I'm going to hang out here in the back. I'm going to hang out here in the back, but all of y'all go ahead of me. And when my brother Esau asks whose all this stuff is, say, they belong to your servant Jacob. They're a gift. They're an offering to my lord Esau. And Jacob's way in the back. He's coming behind us. And the second and the third and the others who follow him say the same thing. Make sure you tell him, I'm his servant. It's like, I'm going to hang out in the back. In case he murders all of y'all, I'm going to be way back here. In case he starts, raiding these camps, I'm going to see it. I'll be able to flee. I'll be able to save something out of this. I'll have a remnant. For he thought, I'm going to pacify him with these gifts. And later, if he accepts those gifts, maybe he'll receive me. It's worth noting that all of these animals would have been an exorbitant bribe, like more than kings would get from other kings. Like, he is laying it on heavy. I'm going to give him everything, all I have, but I'm going to stay in the back where I'm safe and I can see how this unfolds. That night, Jacob got up, took two of his wives, his two female servants, and his 11 sons, and he crossed the ford of the Jabbok. And after he had sent them across the stream, he sent over all of his possessions. He prayed, but then he did everything in his own power to save himself. And to me, it's very interesting. It begs the question, what is the right response? What would have been the right response from Jacob or us when we encounter these situations, when we encounter these really difficult circumstances, and we turn to the Lord? What is prayer? How do we do it? Is it, God, save me, save me, save me, and then immediately I'm going to try to save myself? Or is it, God, save me, I'm going to wait and accept what you do. I'm going to wait. I'm going to see. I'm going to give you time to move. I'm going to listen to you. Because there's a lot of stories like this in the Bible. There's King Hezekiah. He's surrounded. His city gets surrounded by the enemy. The Assyrians come down. And instead of sending out his army, he goes to the temple and he just prays. And everybody's like, what are you doing? What do you do? We got to go fight these guys. And he's like, no, we don't. He just goes and he prays. And God works it out for him. And you're like, is that how we're supposed to? Or even David. David's like, man, I'm going to go fight Goliath. And they're like, here, take all this armor. Take Saul's sword. Take his armor. He's like, no, I don't need that. Why do I need that? God's going to do it. And he goes out and he fights Goliath with nothing. He's like, I know I'm a half-naked boy and I have like a toy sling, but that's enough for God to work with. And it's just this interesting question, like, what does it mean to ask God for things? And what does it mean to trust that he's going to work it out? Like, I don't know. But before we even get to find out what happens, before we get to find out if Esau accepts the bribe, if he kills everybody, if Jacob's able to save anything, something very weird happens to Jacob. He's alone by himself, and something weird happens to him. So Jacob was left all alone. And a man wrestled with him till daybreak. What? When the man saw that he could not overpower him, he touched the socket of Jacob's hip so that his hip was wrenched as he wrestled with the man. Then the man said, "Let me go, for it is daybreak." But Jacob replied, "I will not let you go unless you bless me." The man asked him, "What is your name?" "Jacob," he answered. Then the man said, "Your name will no longer be Jacob, but Israel, because you have struggled with God and with humans and have overcome." Jacob said, "Please tell me your name." But he replied, "Why do you ask me my name?" Then he blessed him there. So Jacob called the place Peniel, saying, "It is because I saw God face to face, and yet my life was spared." The sun rose above him as he passed Peniel, and he was limping because of his hip. Therefore, to this day, the author chimes in, hey, dear reader, to this day, the Israelites do not eat the tendon attached to the socket of the hip, because the socket of Jacob's hip was touched near the tendon. That's the whole story. You're like, what is going on? He's alone, and a man wrestles him until daybreak. Like, this is just a typical Bible story where you're like, what? And the author is intentionally very vague. You have to read this several times because he's like, the man touched him. He could not overcome. The man. And you're like, who's doing what here? Who's doing? And I think he's intentionally being super vague. Who's he wrestling? Is it a man? Because Jacob thinks it's God. Jacob walks away from this encounter certain that he has just encountered God. And the author's like, which one was it? Was it man or was it God? And I think that's the whole point. It's like, exactly. Which one was it? Jacob has spent his entire life scheming and deceiving everyone he comes into contact with. He's been wrestling people for blessing, for wealth, for significance, for identity, his entire life. Since before he was born, he was wrestling people. That's why his mother goes and is like, what is happening to me? Something's happening. They're like, oh, they're wrestling in your womb. Since before he was born, he has been wrestling and striving against people. And I think here in this moment, he realizes that this whole time, when he thought he was wrestling against people, he was really wrestling against God. The entire time, he was fighting for something that was already given to him. He was trying to earn something that was a gift the whole time. All of these battles he's been fighting with Esau and deceiving Isaac, and then with Laban, and then his wives fighting and deceiving for his favor. Was all of that unnecessary? Would God have just worked it out if he would have just trusted? Like, okay, God said this is the thing. I'm going to trust him. Even when circumstances look bad, even when it looks like Esau is going to get blessed, man, God said it would, so I'm going to let God do it. Were all of these completely unnecessary? Did he serve as a slave for 20 years unnecessarily? It's just very interesting. Like, he didn't need to do it. He didn't need to deceive anyone. He didn't need to accumulate 4 wives through deception from him and from Laban. He didn't need to do any of this, I don't think. The implication being God would have worked all of this out for him on his own. And the irony for all of this whole chapter is Jacob plotting to try to manipulate Esau and control that situation. When you read ahead, God has already worked that out. Esau is not even at all interested in these bribes. He's not interested at all in killing Jacob. God's already done something in Esau's heart. All he wants is his brother back. He's doing very well for himself. He's lord over 400 men, and he's like, man, I just want my brother back. Jacob has lived in fear of this moment for 20 years, and he didn't have to. God had already worked it out. I mean, think about our own lives. How many of us have these things that we live in fear of our entire lives? What if God's already worked that whole thing out for you? And all you have to do is just trust and receive it. I mean, Jacob's life is like a tragedy up until this point. God's already worked it out. He just wants his brother back. But what is God going to do with someone who simply will not let God bless them? What is God going to do when he has bound himself to this family? He has bound himself to the Abrahamic line. And he says, man, I'm going to bless you. And they will not stop trying to do everything on their own terms. They will not stop doing what is good in their own eyes. They will not stop striving and seizing and manipulating and deceiving. What's God going to do? He wounds him. He wounds him. I mean, the whole conflict of the Bible could be summed up really simply in the conflict between an irresistible force and an unmovable object, right? The irresistible force is God's love and his will to bless and provide, and the immovable object is people's desire to do it on their own, to earn it on their own. That's the whole plot conflict of the Bible to this point. God's like, man, I want to bless you. Man, trust me for what is good. No, I want to do what's good in my own eyes. I want to earn it on my own. And then it inevitably fails. It causes all of this, and then God has to step in with a severe judgment, but also with mercy. And he does that here with Jacob. He steps in and he has to wound him, but he also heals him. Jacob's been scheming and manipulating everyone around him to get the thing that God has already said is his as a gift. And it's the same for all of us. It's the same. God wants to give him something as a free gift. And Jacob wants to earn it on his own. He wounds him, and then he heals him. And the wound here is really interesting, and I'll tell you a very interesting theory. A lot of the Hebrew commentaries here say that this is not just a touch, and it's not to his hip. The wording here strongly suggests, to most of the Hebrew scholars that I read, that God punches him so hard in his groin that it dislocates his hip. And you're like, what? Why? Why there? Why would you do it? And it's like God is striking the place where Jacob has been making his own blessing. He removes Jacob's ability to bless himself through children and through all that. He does have one more child, but it's immediately after this. She was pregnant before this happens. He never has any more kids after this. And so it's like, man, that has to be significant. If that's the case, if this is a groin shot and he removes his ability to bless himself and to be fruitful and multiply on his own terms, that has to be pretty significant there. And it's a powerful image of God both having to wound and to heal, to strike and to bless, to get humans to receive the thing that they desperately need, that they're desperately trying on their own terms to get, but that they already have through his work. Because it's like God comes down for Jacob during all of this. He's like, oh, I'm going to scheme and I can save myself from Esau. And it's like God comes down and goes, okay, no more. We're going to stop this here. I'm going to encounter you right here. No more, man. We're going to stop these schemes. But he doesn't just wound him. He blesses him and he renames him. The blessing that he gives him comes in the form of a name change, which is significant. What is Jacob's name? Deceiver, trickster. The way he has behaved his whole life, that's his name. And God goes, hey, you're not going to be called that anymore. You're not going to be called that. You're going to be named Israel. It's a character change. And Jacob is changed after this. It's like he's finally humbled. He stops hurting everyone around him. He stops viewing people as just pawns on a chessboard to get what he wants. He's forever changed after this. He's not the happiest guy. He's kind of a crudgety old dude, but he stops hurting everybody. It's like he concedes, and he's like, okay, I'm done fighting you, God. God gives him a limp and a whole new identity. It's a severe mercy. Like he wounds Jacob, but he completely gives him a new identity and a new character through this encounter. What God does not do is abandon him throughout all of this. He doesn't abandon him, man. Because this is also the big story of the Bible. What is God to do with a people that simply will not trust him, will not rely on him, will not trust that it's okay to live a self-sacrificial life, a life of self-sacrificial giving and love, and trust that God will take care of you? What is he going to do with these people? How is he going to make a way to reconcile the world? How is he going to bring us back to that Eden ideal? If we refuse to trust him, we refuse to live the way that he says it's okay to live and that we are created to live, because that's a scary thing. And so what God does is he steps into the own story. He steps into our story as a man in the person of Jesus. And he lives the life that we've always been called to live, but perpetually fail to live. A life of complete devotion and trust in the Father. A life that even to his own hurt and his own harm, he lives in the best interest of other people. He views other people's goodness and well-being before his own. And he lives that life that we were called to live, and he dies the death that we deserved for all of the ways that we unleash hell on each other, on ourselves, on God's good world. All of the little manipulation. He takes the punishment of that upon himself. He's wounded. He's wounded for us. He dies on a Roman torture rack. He's tortured to death, undeservedly, on our behalf. And then through his resurrection life, provides a way where there is no way for us. And he did all of that trusting that the Father would work all things for good. In the Garden of Gethsemane, he's like, God, I don't want to do this. If there's any other way, But if there's not, Father, your will be done. I submit to your will. I trust that you will work this out. And the Father does. He resurrects him through the Holy Spirit. And through that, we have that resurrection life available to us right now as a free gift that we cannot earn. But just like Jacob, we cannot earn it. And we have to stop trying. We have to stop trying. That's the question that's put before us all the time. Like, I don't know what this means for you guys. I don't know where your heart is in these moments, but as Catherine comes up, we'll close with this kind of thought. I want to have Catherine play for a little bit. We're going to have a brief time for you to reflect on this and think about the ways in your life, the ways in my life, that I am striving to build my own kingdom, that I'm trying to build my own kingdom on my own terms. I'm trying to earn the things that God has already given me, because you can't do both. What kingdom am I building? What God am I serving? And as you're asking these questions in your heart, when you reflect and you just turn your heart to the Lord and say, Father God, reveal in my heart things that I am simply not receiving from you, that you have for me because I'm trying to do it on my own terms. God, reveal that to me, and he will. Ways you're fighting and striving to claw out something meaningful out of your life. When he says, man, your life already has meaning because you are loved more deeply than you can imagine. You are known. You are seen. You cannot earn what he has for you. And it's better than any kingdom you could possibly build for yourself. It's better than anything that you could accomplish on your own terms. Ask for him to speak things to you that you've been living in fear of for a long time. And see if he doesn't tell you that he's already resolved it. That you don't have to carry that burden anymore. See if he speaks to you things that you can lay down at his feet and say, man, I don't want to carry this anymore, God. I'm just going to trust that you're going to work this out, that you're going to do what you want to do, Father, in my life, that you're going to make something beautiful out of my life. I just want to trust it. And maybe it's a situation that you've caused on your own, that like Jacob, it's your own actions that have now come back to bite you. And if that's the case, just say, man, God, I own up to that. God, I recognize what I did. I recognize what I did was wrong. I recognize what I did hurt other people. Father, forgive me for that. God, I can do no better without you. Father, change my heart. Father, change my heart and allow him to begin to heal you. Allow him to begin to do something in you where you can trust that he's going to make something beautiful out of your life. And that all you have to do is follow him and just seek him, spend time with him, let him change you. Allow the Holy Spirit to speak to your heart, because what you'll find is he has not abandoned you. He has life to give you in exchange for death. He has beauty to give you in exchange for ashes. He has joy to give you in exchange for mourning. But you cannot earn those on your own. They come on the other side of humility. They come on the other side of saying, God, I'm not going to fight you anymore. They come on the other side of laying down our right to try to build our own kingdoms. And just say, man, God, I want to be about your kingdom. I want to be about your son. And as Catherine plays, just reflect on all of these things. And in a moment, we'll come back up and we'll close with prayer.
Sloppy wet kiss and my heart turns violently inside
So as the ministry team comes up, if you have a need in your heart this morning, if you have a need for physical healing, for emotional healing, allow these people to lay hands on you and join you in prayer, believing that by His stripes we are healed. If you have something in your heart that you need to lay down this morning before God, don't leave before you do, because He has something for you. He has something that you desperately need but cannot earn on your own terms. So, Father, we come before you and we humble ourselves and we say thank you for who you are. Thank you for the lengths that you go to save us from ourselves. Father, speak life into our hearts. Give us beauty for ashes, joy for our mourning, Father. Change our names. Even if you have to wound us, Father, even if we have to lay something down. God, we say that who you are is better than anything we could earn on our own. We say that your kingdom is better than anything we can build on our own. Come change our hearts, Father. Speak life into our hearts that we can become a blessing to the people around us. Father, for you are good, and your love endures forever. It's in your name we pray. Amen.